My name is Dante, and today it's Podcast Tuesday. I mean, this podcast is just going to be a bit shorter than usual because I did not have much time to set it up. It's just only going to be, and because all of the exams stuff, and it's only going to be the top 5 cards from the Mythic Flipland cycle in Zendikar Rising from worst to best. So or not Flipland, choiceland. I mean, there are Fliplands and choiceland. These are choicelands. The choicelands are basically cards found in uncommon, rare, or mythic rarity, which allow you to basically either play the land on the other side or cast the spell on one side. So then you have the spell on one side, but then basically on the other side, then you get a land that enters tapped on mythic rarity. However, you can pay 3 life to make it enter untapped, and there are only 5 cards for that mythic cycle, and they all in a cycle. They don't have similar effects or anything like that. It's simply they all have something in common. Mythic choice lands, and then uh, the rare flip lands were basically just lands that you could play one side or the other, and it's just a land that enters untapped. I mean, yeah, you only play one side. But I mean, that is basically so we're just and there is no combo, so let's just head in straight into the number 5 card. And we have Emeria's Call alongside Emeria Shattered Skyclave. So I put this as the worst of the cycle because it's only sorcery speed. Come on, really? Look, 7 mana sorcery, which allows you to create 2/4/4 Angel Warrior. Wait, what? Angel Warrior. Wow, that's actually it's rare to have an angel creature with an additional creature type. I mean, yeah, angel warriors, yes, with flying. But then non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn. So, I mean, this card cannot be used in like an angels deck. I mean, because that's not gonna help. I mean, and the thing is that this card is only a sorcery. It's not instant because that means you can't catch your opponent by surprise through using this card because I mean, yeah, it's sorcery. But I mean, there's always the other side, which is just a land that you know. I mean, these mythic choice lands. Sometimes I call them mythic choice lands. Other times I call them bulk lands. I mean, let's just call them mythic choice lands. Then you wouldn't be confused why I say bulk land. I mean, it goes in the same pattern as the shock lands because I mean, well, mythics have like bulk lands, that basically the bulk land. Then there's a uncommon and rare choice land, and then there's also the rare flip lands as well. And these are the bulk lands because you can either pay 3 life or enter tap. It goes on the same pattern as shock lands, which allow you to pay 2 life or enter tapped. So yeah, that's what I mean by bulk land. And so yeah, and then like I mean the thing is like when you do the Amaria's Call, you get 2 angels, and then your creatures gain protection until your next turn. Just they gain indestructible. But then the opponent will know that. They're like, oh, you cast that. That means I won't be able to kill your stuff on my turn. Well, I will next turn. So he's just gonna keep everything in their hand and do a different strat. And so then planning that they were going to kill them next turn. You know? And I mean they also won't attack you if they know they are indestructible. But I mean it's all public knowledge. That's the thing. If you cast the Marius Call, that's why it's not as good. If it was an instant, that would be much better. Because yeah, at instant speed, this would have been opponent by surprise. But they decided to make it a sorcery. Let's just go into our number 4, and it is
renderforest.com.
Agadeem's Awakening, Agadeem the Undercrit. So this card. So we have Agadeem's Awakening. This is the black version of it. I mean, it X and triple black sorcery. Return from your graveyard to battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost X or less. So, I mean, this is like and of course you can play as the other side. They're just like the other side. I mean, the thing is that if it allows you to like if you put X as 1, then you can actually get one that you can pay 4 mana and you bring back a 1 cost and a 0 cost. Or then like if you pay 5 mana, then you bring back 2 cost, 1 cost, 0 cost. And then like I mean the the X it's kinda complicated how this card is, but it doesn't stop it from being bad. I mean it's still quite good. Not as good as the other ones in the cycle, but I mean this is actually kinda good. I mean it's a bit too conditional because I mean you need to specifically be those costs like I mean if you do an X is 0 then you can only get a 0 cost. But then when you do it like the higher the X, the then the more you pay for X, the higher the maximum amount of features you can return for that X. Yeah, and then the cost like gets higher. Like every time you just add on one creature of the cost you're paying, like it just ladders down. It's kind of complicated to explain this card, but yeah, it's still kind of good. Not as good as the other ones in the cycle, but it's good. Time for golden number 3, and it is and there we have it. The golden number 3 we have Shatter Skull Smashing. Shatter Skull the Hammer Path. So how this card is like it's X and 2 red. I mean it deals X damage divided as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. But if X is 6 or more, you double that. I mean, so you can divide it any way you want it. Not you don't have to divide it evenly. I mean, what's good is that the more you pay for it, then it actually gets bigger. You can now you cannot hit the player. That's the thing, and you can only hit a maximum of 2 things with it. I mean, you can't just like just uh put a lot of mana onto it just to kill everything on the opponent. You just still have to like you can only kill 2 things like a maximum. Like you can kill 2 of their planeswalkers, 1 of their creatures, and 1 planeswalker. 2 of their creatures, or maybe just 1 creature or 1 planeswalker, or just severely damage a planeswalker or 2 planeswalkers. Who knows? That, but what's sad is that you can't hit the player. That's the thing. This card is just prone to like basically it would be much better if it could hit players because you could actually like put a lot of mana onto it. That would be like essentially a better rolling thunder. I mean this card I mean I'm not saying this is better than a rolling thunder. I mean rolling thunder allows you to put it up on anything onto any number. You can even hit players with it. That's the thing. I mean, the thing is that you can't play it. You can't play a Rolling Thunder as a land, and Shatter Skull and the thing is that Shatter Skull Smashing what it has that what Rolling Thunder does not have is that is that when it gets higher than 6, then it doubles it. And Rolling Thunder does not double when it hits. So yeah, I mean, still, Shatter Skull Smashing is kind of great, and they're using it just because of the other side. I mean, there are many decks such as like Goblin Char Belchers and stuff like that. They're actually using these flip lands or mainly like Shatter Skull Smashing and stuff like that. Like they're using the Bolt land because the main side is in fact the sorcery, and then when you Char Belcher, then when it passes by the card, it doesn't stop there, which is actually nice. Then like they tend to have like one or two mountain cards and stuff like that, and then or maybe not even a mountain at all, or not even a land at all. Then then you have over these flip land and or not flip lands, just the choice flip lands. They will still be considered land, just choice lands and both lands. Just use these, and then like then put one mountain or no mountain, no, maybe a second mountain if you want to play a risk. I don't know. Then then you have to put stuff like rituals and stuff to get to the Charbelcher and get the mana to activate Charbelcher, because you need stuff like Wild Cantor, Death Ritual, Pyretic Ritual, uh, or just Iron Crag Feet. I mean, if you good thing, and like, or sometimes even like Mana Morphose, maybe, or I don't know, who knows, like, it's mainly played in Legacy, but sometimes it can be done in Modern. Like, it's harder in Modern. It's just easier in Legacy. That's the thing because you have like Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual and stuff like that. I mean, and even Lotus Pet and stuff like that. Just, I mean, it's kind of hard to challenge. I mean, you can like at most get down by turn two, I think, or turn one for Legacy because I mean, you have to activate it once you get the Charbelcher down. Not the. I mean, once you get the Charbelcher, you just still need to somehow activate it. That's 7 mana, not 4 mana. 4 mana is to cast and 3 mana to activate. So I mean, for example, I heard like a quick way to activate it is just do an Ironcrag feat, play the what? Oh yeah, right. Play that card, the Charbelcher, and then with the remaining 3 mana, activate Charbelcher, and then try and hit the opponent. See how much damage. Oh yeah, that will be. Let's just go into our number two, and this. And there we have it. Seagate Restoration, Seagate Reborn. So this card, like, what does like this is the blue card of the cycle, and it's actually a really powerful card. So basically, you basically draw a card for each. Just count the number of cards in your hand, then draw that amount of cards, but then you get one bonus card on top of that, and then you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Not just this turn, for the rest of the game. This is like one of the few ways to get no maximum hand size without any way possible to lose it. Only this is like this card alongside the code. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's this card where basically you put all cards from your graveyard into your hand, but then you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Uh, oh, I don't know. Just I just don't know what was that card called. I mean, Seagate Restoration actually he grants you the no matter hand size for the rest of the game, which is very nice. I'm happy with that. Let's. What's the name of the other card? I can't remember. I knew that card. In fact, I think I played it once. I mean, I don't have it, but I mean, I played it once. And actually, it's called Predator's Council. Apparently, there is another card. Finale of Revelation as well. If you actually spend an additional 5 onto it, then you actually draw twice the amount. I think it was. Uh, then you have like no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Yeah. Well, Finale of Restoration, Seagate Restoration, and Predator's Council are the only three cards that grant you no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Like, I mean, stuff like, I mean, there's other stuff that allow you to have no maximum hand size for the rest, not for the rest of the game, just no maximum hand size. Easier ways, but I mean, they can still get rid of it. This is like a permanent thing. Like, it's a permanent effect that happens through the rest of the game. I mean, stuff like, you do. What's kind of weird is that if you like enter the infinite, it only grants you no maximum hand size for a turn, and not for the rest of the game. So, I mean, you you draw the hand, keep the hand, maybe play something off of it, and then just wait the second turn, and then that's when you do a full hand jump. Because it what you're meant to do with an Enter of the Infinite is actually cast it for free. If you have an Omniscience, then cast everything you drew with the Enter of the Infinite. So yeah, I mean, Seagate that Restoration actually is great. I mean, it draws you less cards, but keeps you that no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. And then Predator's Council also does the same thing, and like, but doesn't draw you cards. It just returns you the cards. And then Finale of Revelation, you just have to pay an edge that's big enough to actually. No, it was 10 or more, not 5 or more. Just and 10 or more, then it will be like then instead you have been able to like shuffle your graveyard back into your library and like before drawing, then draw that card, and then like you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Well, that's the number two. The number two, and now let's just go in to the number one of the cycle. And there we have it. Turntimber Symbiosis, Turntimber Serpentine Wood. So this card is like it looks cool, I mean, Turntimber Symbiosis. So apparently all of them are sorceries. There's not a single instant in this cycle. And yeah. Then I was like, so they're all sorceries. What's kind of surprising is that number 5 is also sorcery, but that it's not an instant, which is weird. Like then everything, but then everything else, yeah, it makes sense. That's a sorcery. Then we have Turntimber Symbiosis. They send mana sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If it has a CMC of 3 or less, it enters with 3 plus on counters on it. Put the rest of them to the bottom of your library in a random order. So I like how a Turntimber Symbiosis has like a fail safe, where basically like you draw 7 cards. I mean, if you get no creatures, then nothing happens. I mean, if you get, but I mean, usually you get a big creature and you put down. But if everything ends up being small, and you put a small thing down, then it actually grows. It gets free a bonus 3+1 counters on it. So if you just fail with it and instead of getting a big thing, you get a small thing, then it actually grows. And it's played a lot. So I mean, this is actually really good card. This is great. I mean, this, and then also in Commander, yeah, you gotta use it. This is great. I mean, I don't have this card, but I mean, once I get it, I'm gonna use it, and that's like great for many formats. Primarily Commander, I mean, other formats you can use this card. So yeah, congratulations, you've reached the end of the podcast. So why don't you like and subscribe and follow if you haven't already? Just share it with your friend. Stay tuned to my next video streams and podcasts. Podcasts will be live at 4 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. CET. I mean, this time it was a bit later because, you know, I've been very busy today. So, I mean, couldn't have time. I didn't have time to do it earlier. So, I mean, that's it. It's only this small podcast a bit later. But don't worry, I've got something special for next week. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And bye.